Maybe Bobby Clampett ought to put his +4s back on or something.
He better do something.
Ooh, change his luck.
He was not the only one. Only 4 players today, Marcia, broke par. And it's a tough course, and it's proving to be just that. And after going 11 under par in the first 2 rounds of the British Open Golf Tournament, young Bobby Clampett might have wondered why this Royal Troon course in Scotland was respected as one of the best. That is until today, when the 22-year-old kid from California found out the hard way. Clampett triple bogeyed the 6th hole and bogeyed 5 others to trim his lead in this major golf championship from 5 shots to 1 after 54 holes. Clampett spent most of the day recovering, and it cost him strokes, lots of strokes. Even Bobby's fine putting touch had deserted him. By the end of a long afternoon on the course, Clampett had finished with a 78 or 6 over par for a 1-shot lead over Nick Price. The charging South African started the day 5 shots behind Clampett, shot 74 today to move within a shot of the lead. Des Smith of Ireland is 2 shots back. Smith was accurate on this birdie putt, carded a 74 to move into 3rd place tie with Sandy Lyle. Waiting in the wings, of course, is U.S. Open champion Tom Watson. He had a 74 today. Watson is 3 shots behind Clampett with 18 holes to play. Tom Terrific is by no means out of this tournament. The 3rd round leaderboard reads like a who's who of international golf. Clampett from the U.S., Price from South Africa, Lyle from Scotland, then Smith from Ireland, Watson, Japan's Kuramoto, and England's Peter Oosterhuis. Some of the other names: Jack Nicklaus, Bill Rogers, 8 shots back at 3 over par, Lee Trevino at 5 over, Arnold Palmer at 6 over, and Craig Stadler is back at 8 over par. Well, things are beginning to sort out themselves at the Tape Mark Charity Golf Tournament. John Shafee, the U.S. Open qualifier and the Minnesota Masters winner, shot a 68 today at Indian Hills. He goes 6 under par after 2 rounds and holds a 2-shot lead. Yesterday's leader, Jim Terry of Scott T's golf range, went into today's round at Indian Hills with a 4-under lead, but the sweet slinger from Brooklyn Park ran into a couple of bogeys in the back 9 at Indian today and finished 1 over for a net 3 under par after 2 rounds. Yesterday, Terry was having trouble off the tee. Today, it was perfect tee to green, but had a little trouble putting. This putt didn't look all that bad, considering it was about a 30-footer, but Terry then took 2 more putts here on the 16th for one of his 2 backside bogeys. Others in the hunt, former winner George Shortridge and Ron Benson. Tomorrow's final round takes place at Southview Country Club. Well, the Twins lost another perspiring outing to the Detroit Tigers last night indoors, the muggy Metrodome 6-3. But unlike a number of Twin losses suffered this year, this one, under the sweltering humid conditions in the Dome, took on a new twist. Witness the bizarre events that take place in the 2nd inning. Detroit's Alan Trammell will swing and miss for a strike 3. Right? Wrong. Ball goes one way, catcher Tim Lauder goes another, and Trammell ends up on first base. Next up, Lou Whitaker smacks the ball to right. Going, gone. Right? Wrong. Somehow Tom Brunansky got a glove on it. The ball is back into play meanwhile, Whitaker is in his home run jog around the bases. Umpire rules ball is in play. He starts going after it. The ball then in a rundown. Laudner picks it up. Ball caroms off Whitaker's helmet, so he scores anyway. What a circus, what a call, insists Tiger manager Sparky Anderson. As a result of that, he was thrown out of the ball game, as if there wasn't enough hot air in the Metrodome last night. Same 2 clubs will go at it tonight. Around the American League on the schedule today, Cleveland over California 10-4. Toronto has beaten Texas 11-3. And in Boston, 8-4 Red Sox over Kansas City. In Fenway Park, the Red Sox scored 6 runs in the bottom of the 8th to beat the Royals 8-4. Rick Miller's bases-loaded triple to center scored 3 of those runs off reliever Dan Quisenberry. The Boston victory pushes the Sox into temporary hold of first place in the East. Temporary because the Milwaukee Brewers will play later tonight. On the national side of the scoreboard this afternoon, Atlanta over Chicago 9-4. St. Louis has beaten Cincinnati 4-2, and a partial score, Philadelphia has a 2-1 lead in the 7th over San Francisco. The way that Mary Decker Tabb has been running lately, she's going to set a record for most records broken. Last night in Eugene, Oregon, Mary set a new world record in 10,000 meters with a time of 31 minutes, 35 and 3/10 seconds. Now, in the last 6 weeks, Decker Tabb has set world records in the 5,000 meter and the mile. Now she says she wants the 3,000 meter record too. Why not? Davey Moore, the World Boxing Association junior middleweight champion, mounted a successful defense of his title here on Channel 5 this afternoon. The challenger was Aoub Kaouli, the #1 ranked junior middleweight in the world. He lasted 10 rounds, or just 2 seconds short of 10 rounds, and the referee said the punishment he had taken from the champion was certainly enough. Twins at the Metrodome tonight, taking on the Tigers.
Sparky probably won't need to take a cold shower tonight. It's going to be a little bit cooler
muggy.
in the Metrodome.
The smelt season opened last night. That's when the banks of Lake Superior's streams started bustling again, with waders in the water, refreshments on the shore. Today those same shores had fewer smelters, but by far smarter seekers. We found an underwater duo who had taken to the depths with their net in hand. Oh, there were the serious smelters there too, young and old, all there to test the spawning waters still so very cold.
It's a fishing fever, and I think probably after the winter being all cooped up, it's the first real outing they get. Because I know some years if we have a late smelt season where the fishing season would be opening up, like for walleyes northerns, the people don't show up.
The smelt season is short, only 2 weeks in fact, but still long enough to net the sporting fishermen, according to a Department of Natural Resource estimate, 2 million pounds of smelt. Another 4 million will be harvested commercially, then sold for 50 to 60 cents a pound.
If we had a situation like this over in Europe or in Japan, it'd be national holidays.
For the weekend, these banks and streams will be overflowing with smelt seekers, dipping their nets with these tiny silverfish, a species that annually signals spring and the return of Minnesota's outdoor sporting season. In the Knife River, near Duluth, RobLeer, Channel 5, Eyewitness Sports. Bullseye. To an archer, that's a mark of excellence, achievement, and payoff for hours invested on the sideline. Bullseyes for Jerry and Paulette Podretz of Maple Plain. Marks to the location on the backyard target their arrows most frequently land. And with good reason. This Minnesota couple are national champions in their respective archery classes. Paulette in 1980, Jerry since 1976, the national archery field champion 5 out of the last 7 years.
90% of archery is physical, and then the remaining 10% is mental concentration. But that last 10% is what makes you a championship archer.
Jerry and Paulette have been married for 8 years, shooting from the sight line for 16. Their trophy case at home is full of hardware that has recognized them for titles won. But missing is the world record honor Jerry holds as the first field archer to ever turn in a perfect score while competing for nationals.
You can't maintain 100% concentration all the time. You do it for a while, it works out great, but your mind kind of slips into a state of relaxation, and then you're in a slight slump. So then you have to work yourself out of it.
National champions are hard to come by, especially here in Minnesota. But then so is finding a couple as close to perfect as the Podretz. I'm RobLeer, Channel 5 Eyewitness Sports in Maple Plain.